I think I was my own worst enemy in a way. Just believing I could do it is a huge obstacle for me.
I've never considered myself very athletic, but I'm out here practicing and I'm getting better, so I can't ask for more.
Before this winter, I had never run more than a mile in my life.
I never could go more than a mile or two without a lot of pain.
I used to have shin splints and, sore everything.
Either I get tired, either I get bored, but I never went past 3 miles.
It was always a struggle to get through 3 or 4. I never thought I would ever run 10 miles or 13.
This year has been a real challenge because everybody is at different levels.
And these 5 new ones have never run a half marathon before. So it's very interesting, very challenging, and very exciting.
Everybody I know is really excited to get to the half marathon, and I can't wait to be there when everybody crosses.
So the straightaway is second gear. When you come around the curve, when you're getting near this straightaway, I want you to lean a little bit more, and this is third gear down this straightaway, third gear, okay?
Well, my name is Doug Dapo, and I'm a certified ChiRunning and ChiWalking instructor. And after learning it, I've never looked back. It's been wonderful for me. So not only personally for my own running, but I really enjoy teaching it and seeing others learn the technique and seeing how they get it in their bodies and see how they progress with it. That's my greatest satisfaction. I've always been a runner. Ever since I can remember. In junior high and high school, I ran track. Did not enjoy it. When I went away to college, I began running again for myself. And running for me is my stress reliever. I gain so much from it. I feel free, I feel energized, rejuvenated, just keeping me in a good state, physically, mentally, spiritually. So I just love running.
I don't run a half marathon in third gear. Third gear is at that threshold where it's like aerobic and anaerobic. I think of running my race somewhere in between second and third gear, and I call it cruising gear. And then, like I said, when I'm about a couple miles out, and if I ran well, I'll start leaning, and that's when I'm going into second gear plus third gear. Then near the end, third gear plus, and if I got anything left, I'm going all out. But lean, relax, lean, relax. All right, so you're starting out first gear.
Well, ChiRunning is a running technique combining principles from Tai Chi, which focuses on being aligned and relaxed in your body to allow your chi or your energy to flow freely. So you take these principles and apply them to your running. So in the same way, by being relaxed and aligned in your body, you can run more efficiently, you can be proactive to not get injured, and you could discover the joy of running. So you're outside of this no pain, no gain philosophy. You find running becomes something that helps your body, gives you health, vitality, energy, and makes it fun.
I really appreciate Doug's teaching style because he is passionate, enthusiastic, very clear with his instructions, encouraging, and really cares about his runners. If you have a question or a concern, he really takes the time to work with you and make sure you understand what you need to do differently or things that you're doing really well, and he'll encourage you in that as well.
Doug's a great inspiration. When I run, I think of everything he tells me. It goes in my head all the time. He's in my head. But if that wasn't there, I wouldn't be able to get through all those runs. So I think the constant encouragement and motivation and the same words and tricks and tips and all the tools helps.
I couldn't have asked for a better coach, and I keep reminding myself and I keep telling him every time is, hey, I couldn't have done without you. From the very beginning, he put us in the right track. Whether it's the form or whatever that we are doing, he made sure that we are doing it right. He was giving the pointers everywhere.
I guess there's always been a kind of a teaching element within me, and I just wanted to share it. I just felt like Danny Dreyer, the other certified instructors, shared what I consider this gift with me. And maybe I felt a responsibility to pass it on. I don't feel like I'm a salesman, but I feel like I'm sharing the gift of ChiRunning with others and ChiWalking.
When your foot lands, you want to bend your knee and bring your leg up like this, a little bit more circular. That's why I said let your heels float up. When I said that, you did that. It was very nice. So start here. First gear.
We're training for the Columbus Capital City Half Marathon. It's a spring half marathon race, early May. Typical training for us is we will meet during the week on Thursdays at the track. And that's where we really focus on form. The first 8 weeks are just the form phase. So I corral all the wild horses that want to get running fast right out the gate. I corral them and tell them we're all going slow, we're all staying together. It's not about speed in the beginning, so I keep them nice and slow, relaxed, working on our form. And then Saturday morning we do our long run together. And then the 2 other times they run on their own. This is the kind of training that I love the most because I get to be with them for 16 weeks. So I can see them develop. And I tell my students, learning the technique, sometimes you're like the ugly duckling. Sometimes it's a little bit awkward in the beginning, not quite sure how it feels in your body, but then I get to see them progress from the ugly duckling to a beautiful swan. They start to get the lean, they start to relax, have good alignment, landing midfoot, nice arm swing, and then you see the smiles on their faces. So after we get up into the higher miles, maybe they've never run more than 7 miles before, and then I can't believe I ran 8 miles. So every week becomes a new milestone.
I'd always wanted to run. My father was a runner, my brother was a runner, and I never was a runner for long distances. And like I said, it was always hard for me to run, 4, even 5 miles. So a friend of mine, Ron Weber, was in the ChiRunning group last year, and he was able to complete the half marathon, which I was very impressed by. So he kind of got me into this thing, and I thought if he could do it, then I could do it. And
I ran also last year a half marathon with ChiRunning and feel better this year. In ChiRunning, we talk about gradual progress, and it really is true that the more you try it, the more you work on it, slowly but surely the better you get. And I think this year proves that for me.
And I've read about the techniques before I started the program. I started reading the ChiRunning book, and I just didn't feel like I was getting enough out of the book, so that's why one of the reasons I picked up the program. But it's taken me a little bit of time to get some of those techniques down, and I'm still working on them, but I know I've come a long way and made some progress, so I feel good overall about that.
I didn't do a whole lot. I started off running because I was doing some triathlons, and I really didn't like to run, and I didn't really like to swim. I really loved to bike. And I actually went to the library and pulled a ChiRunning book off the shelf, and that's how I found ChiRunning, and it's been so easy ever since. Last year was my first half marathon, and I did the group with Doug, and that was great, and I did that. And, I just wanted to set another goal for myself, so did it again this year.
It's kind of life-changing because before this experience, I was the type of runner who would go out and run a couple miles and then my knee would hurt and then I'd get discouraged and then I would stop running for about 3 months. Now I'm just so proud of myself and so impressed that I'm able to go out and run for really long distances, so that's really encouraging.
ChiRunning has been great. ChiRunning has been really great. I never ran in my life more than 1 or 2 miles, and I ran 11 this week, and it's all because of ChiRunning.
It started with Ram letting me know that there was this group and he was joining them for a half marathon training, and he told me that they were trying to run and train so that they wouldn't get injured. So that was a big selling point for me. I was always, when I tried to run on my own, I would just start off really fast and I'd run half a mile and then I'll be sore and aching for the rest of the week and I'd give it up.
When I was in high school, I set a life goal, several life goals, one of which was to run a marathon at some point. Now, obviously, it's been a while since I was in high school, but I've been working periodically at it, but every time I get to 6 miles, I would get shin splints. So finally, after years and years of getting up to that point, having to stop, having to restart, I got orthotics and I joined Chi. So since then, I've run a couple half marathons, actually several half marathons, I run my first full marathon, so I finally achieved that, and I'm training for my first ultra for this year, which is going to be in September.
I've never seen this wide of a group. When I ran with the group last year, we were very similar in as far as speed and capacity, and we're so different this year. It's been real difficult. So,
and this year I have 5 returning runners, and we have 5 brand new runners. And some of them are at all different levels. Some haven't really run much at all. So I love looking at seeing the new people, seeing their faces of disbelief from the get-go, wondering, how am I going to run 13.1 miles?
Before this training, my longest run that I've ever run was 7 miles. And today, I'm getting ready to run 12. I ran 11 last week. I expect to feel really good at the end, not have any knee, ankle pain like I typically would in the past.
I just get nervous when, today's a 12-mile run. That's hard to think, oh my gosh, 12 miles, I can't do that. But the thing is with Doug, he helps you think, you're not going to run 12 miles, you're going to run 1 mile 12 times. So when you think about it a different way, it makes it more bearable.
You get a fresh group of runners every year, and it just seems like it's so rewarding to watch men and women that have never run that far, and they're elated every time that they go that next mile for the first time. So to me, those are my favorite moments. So it's like every week is my favorite moment.
It's great to see everybody's progress, and it's great to celebrate everybody's milestones. I mean, there were a few people today that had new personal records, and it's exciting to celebrate with them.
I feel so accomplished. Awesome. Injury-free.
We all know what each other has done so far, and at the end of the race, just high-fiving everybody, saying great job, even encouraging each other along the way. Today, Lee and I, it was getting a little rough because of the wind, and on the way back, we just kept pointing out points, let's go to the post, let's go to the person, let's go to the dog, let's go to the whatever. We just helped each other the whole way, and it really helped us get to the end.
I'm so excited. So many endorphins. If I could, I'd do the splits, but I can't. I ran 12 miles, all-time record. So proud, so happy. I can't stop smiling, my face hurts. And I'm just really proud of our team. I might start crying. Amy and I were good running buddies at the end.
We were E-cheeing off everything.
Yes.
There's the pine tree. We're going to E-chee off that. There's the next.
There's
the post. There's the dog.
It was so good.
The first 6 was great. We had the wind to our back, and it was sunny and pretty, and then little challenge coming back. But if you're not challenged, what's the point?
It is camaraderie. When we go in a group, it's like everybody's encouraging everybody else. Hey, you're doing an awesome job. You're going really fast today. You're doing really well. So that's really good with working with the team and working with the coach.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah.
Good job.
No, we're just training. Just personal distance record.
Yeah.
Cap City?
Yeah.
That's right.
So we're in a corner. You'll make it. You got 12 now. You're covered.
How do you feel today? Awesome.
Good. On the way back, we had a strong headwind that we had to face. So I was just encouraging everybody, don't fight the wind, just relax. Just go with it. Pretend like you're being pulled up and forward. So it's a good practice for us to use all our different ChiRunning focuses. And that's good because you have to learn to be flexible. So whatever conditions, you learn to adjust. So I think everyone did a really good job. 12 miles in the books. So it's a good learning. Every run is a good learning experience.
My ChiRunning started off very well. I was able to kind of get to a 10-mile distance without too much trouble. But at that point, I started having some problems with my right knee where I couldn't run at all. And I would run about 2 miles and I just had to stop.
In his running form, his right foot, he tended to splay it out quite a bit. And that was beginning to cause him pain in his right knee. He gave it a try and we ran together and his knee just started hurting again and he had to walk. So he was really discouraged. He realized that that is going to be a gradual progress to correct that. And unfortunately, we had the race coming up, so he had to contend with that. So he rested for about a month before the race. So I was concerned, he was concerned, you know, what his knee was going to feel like on race day, how he was going to get through it.
We've missed him for the past couple weeks and just hoping that he'd get better and that he'll, you know, be able to heal. But I've been really proud of him because he took the time off to rest, which is so important. And I'm sure it was very hard for him, but I think he was wise.
I loved my running group. It was very supportive. I don't know that I would have been out there, you know, 2 or 3 times a week without them. So to have a group of people going through the same thing that you're going through, it makes you want to get out there and be there for them as much as they're there for you. And it was a struggle for me in the last 4 weeks of training when I didn't go because I just missed the group and I wanted to be there with them and it was hard.
I think what I like about the ChiRunning group is just the camaraderie when we're running together.
We keep the mood pretty light. It's not about being really competitive against each other. It's about support, and we really help each other through encouragement and keeping everybody moving and moving forward.
You feel like you're part of a team who cares about you. You encourage one another. Just the thought of going out and running 12, 13 miles by yourself, in my eyes, is a little bit depressing.
It's great to have a schedule. You meet with your group, you stick to the plan.
Without the group, you say, okay, I go whenever I go, I do whatever I want to do. But it's because of the group, because of the coach, you are here on time, and with the group, you're done. And at the end of it, you could say, hey, I've done it.
Everybody is very supportive. Everybody goes at their own pace. There's no competition.
And there are people who have already run half marathons and full marathons. But I never felt like an outsider. Right from the day one, they encouraged me, they supported me, they said I could do it, they said, yes, you're doing well. They never turned around and looked at me and said, wow, you are really slowing us down.
When you watch someone who has struggled with all the different techniques finally get it, it's almost like the light comes on and they go a longer distance without really wearing down, and consequently there's an appreciation, and because there's an appreciation, everybody just sort of appreciates being with one another, and that just sort of adds to the energy.
And then the different characters come out, we have a lot of fun, we're cracking jokes, and the camaraderie is really special, and that's what makes the whole experience really fun.
My favorite moments as part of the running group typically is showing up on a Saturday morning when it's really cold and just seeing the people pull into the parking lot, and everyone's so excited to start running. You just feel so encouraged and part of a team, and just proud of yourself for getting out of bed and moving and having fun and taking care of your body. There was a period in our training where Doug got really sick, and so he wasn't able to run with us, but he'd come out and bike and he'd carry water for us. He rested, and that really spoke a lot to me about what it looks like to be able to be a lifelong runner. Is, you know, don't push yourself to the point of breaking, but be wise about running so you can enjoy it.
I don't know what happened, some kind of virus, and it really knocked me out. About a month before the race, I had no energy, no stamina, so about 3 of our long runs, I actually rode the bike to be with the group and to encourage them, coach them on the different focuses during the long runs. So that was disconcerting for me because I didn't know what kind of shape I'd be in come race day. Every time we run, we're focusing on a different aspect of the ChiRunning form. So we're not just grinding out the miles, but we're learning to tune into our bodies, learning how to run with good posture, with alignment, relaxation, learning how to run from our core and relaxing our arms and legs. So the whole training, we're incorporating all the ChiRunning focuses and technique so the runners begin to feel it in their body. So we have form over a longer distance, and then speed happens, and that's when it really gets fun.
The biggest difference in my mindset when we started with the group was you need to take things slow. You need to run slow. It isn't like the show in the television where you start out fast and you sprint. This isn't a 100-meter dash.
You know, I ventured into something that was not known territory to me, so therefore all these fears and doubts and anxiety creep in, and I'd have to really fight against myself to meet my goal because I'm my own worst enemy sometimes.
As you get older, every year is a smaller piece of the pie. And so every year gets shorter and shorter and shorter. This is getting me outside. I can notice the seasons passing. I can notice that time has slowed down. I can be out here and appreciate it. And so really Chi has given me presents. I had also dropped weight this year, and so just to note that just naturally speed is happening, which is the promise of Chi eventually once you keep doing it, it seems like it's starting to work.
I've been running Chi now for about 5 years now. The very first year I was able to run a half marathon. And then the second year I was able to very easily run a full marathon because all the pains that I used to experience, they just pretty much weren't there anymore. In fact, I've not had any kind of injury that I used to get even running shorter distances. So that has made a huge difference for me.
If it wasn't for the group and it wasn't for the coach, I don't think I would have been at 13.1 this quick, or I wouldn't have been able to do 13.1. That's very clear. Every week it was a win. Every week it was a personal best. And getting to 13.1 miles was just amazing.
It changes your mindset and really makes it possible for you to accomplish distances that you never could run when you're being competitive or running with a lot of strain and stress.
And I feel like I'm able to go a little further without, actually a lot further without being winded and without stressing my muscles and my body so much.
It's given me more energy, I'm sleeping better, my outlook is much more positive. People have already commented on how much more relaxed I am during the day. I don't get stressed at work. So wow, it has been a big change for me.
I can run for, 5, 10, whatever miles and not even be sore. So it's been awesome. The technique's incredible.
I'm able to notice like birds chirping, different beautiful scenes, learning the different focuses as you run, like keeping your posture aligned and relaxing and just enjoying running is totally different than what I've ever experienced before, and it makes running so much more enjoyable, and it gives me a hope that I can run for the rest of my life.
Or before I would just kind of like go out and start running and kind of wild and all over the place, and I would be tired after a mile and I would just struggle through the next couple. And with the ChiRunning, I could go at a slow, easy pace and go for almost, forever it seemed at certain times that you could just keep going.
We usually, all start together and start as a team and start off slow, and before you know it, you see Jason taking off and he's like so fast, and I'm like, well, I'll see you at the turnaround. I'll be a good 1.5 miles behind you. Jerry has the best one-liners I've ever heard, and he's pretty persistent with them. He's the funny guy. But he's very genuine too. He's always there to help, or, he stays back sometimes, you can tell, and just to talk and run with you. But you could tell if he wanted to, he could take off in any second and be a couple miles ahead of everyone. Jeremy's just a really genuine person. He's able to really focus, and he has all the high-tech stuff, and I'm always really jealous of it. Doug is extremely versatile. He's very passionate. He really cares about his runners. He makes sure that we know the course, that we're doing well. He'll run it beside us and ask how we're doing, and it just feels really good to be part of his team. And Cal Sheik, he's like a machine. Like, he'll just start running and he's just so focused, and you can tell he's very intelligent, really hard worker. He'll get online and research ways to improve himself, and so I really respect that about him. Ram is very dedicated. You can tell that he really takes to heart everything that people tell him, and his form is really good. Like, whenever he finishes, I'm like, man. And Ron is just like real even keel, steady. He has like awesome chi form, so sometimes when I see him running ahead of me, I try to mimic his arm movements, and he's just a really encouraging person in general. Amy is my running buddy, typically. She knows everyone on the trails, first of all, so she's always waving to people. We'll talk about everything from food, recipes, to jewelry, to hockey, to, whatever. And Matt, I'm guessing he's the sort of guy who has tons of friends who always want to hang out with him all the time, because he just kind of adds a nice element to life.
Leah, she's very positive, encouraging others, a real spark in the group, very excitable. Every week after we got past mile 7, she was just so happy. Jerry and Jason are 2 runners in our group that have been with me for quite a while. They're what I would call the veteran runners, and it's really good. Their support was really amazing, because we had some newbies, never run a half before, and not only was I the coach, but they were coaching as well, so they'd give a lot of encouragement, so it was great having them around.
They run way ahead of us, okay, and they can finish the race and they can leave whenever they want to, but they're actually here waiting for everybody else and cheering them up and let them come in. It's not so much about competing at that point, it's about encouraging. Even when they're coming back, it's not like, hey, I'm ahead of you, but they're saying, hey guys, you're doing a good job, you're doing a good pace, keep going.
First half marathon. Woo! Good job, man. Good job.
Ron stopped to get water at the halfway point, and I kept going, and then I didn't see him again. I picked up the pace before we got to the stoplights. I was picking up the pace pretty good the last maybe a mile and a half or so before those stoplights, and then
Yeah, you had a good kick.
When you break stride, it is so hard to get it back again.
Yeah, it is.
Especially if you were just like feeling really good and in the moment.
This is definitely the longest distance I've run up to this point. I think previous to now it's been about 12 and a half miles or so. So a new personal record. I feel great about that. I didn't think last year at this time I would ever be able to run this far, but I just did it. So here I am. So
Look at you, man. Woo-hoo-hoo! Strong finish. Holy cow.
got it.
Really nice. Yeah. Woo-hoo-hoo! A half marathon.
Wow. Oh, wow.
Nice. That is awesome.
Yeah, it feels great.
Nice going. Can you believe it? You believe you did it?
Honestly.
And look at your pace. Look how fast you were.
Wow, today's run was the longest, and for me it's a personal best. I ran 13 miles today. Oh wow, if you had asked me 4 months ago and even 4 weeks ago, I wouldn't have believed that I could have run 13 miles. And I ran out of water, and I think I have to figure out them.
Well, when you're in the race, you're going to draw from all the energy of all those people yelling at you.
Okay.
They're going to have a lot of water stops.
Yeah,
You're gonna feel good.
yeah, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
That looked good, dude. Look strong.
Yeah, you were. Look how
Nice.
I mean, you're so far ahead of everybody else.
Yeah.
What Doug told us on a weekly basis, every session that we had, the key points being you have to relax, you have to run at your own pace, you have to listen to your body. You are not supposed to stress, you're not supposed to push off your feet, you just have to let gravity do the work for you. Just relax and move. The Ichi technique, every bit of it came in handy today when I was running the 13 miles. So without that, I don't think I would have been able to make it 13 miles. While I was running the 13 miles, I was running it one section at a time, like Doug told me. Towards the end, the 2.5 miles, oh man, there were doubts at moments, and I said, wow, can I really make the 2.5 miles? But then all I did was look to the next stop sign, and I said, I'm just going to make to the next stop sign, then I'll go and decide what I'll do there. And I just kept doing that, and I made the 13 miles, and I made it in a decent time. I'm really, really happy.
Yeah. All right. Let's go again. Yeah. Woo. All right. Well, we'll let you get drinking. Oh, pass out for a week now.
It's our halfway point, right?
Yeah. All right. Good job.
I think the cool weather helped today. If it was hot, I don't know how bad it would have been. Yeah! Congratulations! 20 miles!
You feel like you did last week?
Yeah.
You don't have the runner's high.
I have runner's high.
Dude, sweet.
13 miles.
Oh, thank you.
13.1. The run was purely mental. From mile 8 on. Amy and I, buddies again. Felt so good to finish. A runner's high. So happy.
Woo!
How do you feel?
This is Paula Radcliffe. Congratulations, you've just recorded a new personal best for the 10K.
The very first thing I've done after finishing my 13.1 miles is I went to Doug this is for you. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have done this.
Because looking back, you know, they're like, I never believed I could ever run 13.1 miles. So that's the part I love the most, and that's why I teach. Just watching them progress and develop and seeing the confidence in their face after having run 7 miles, 10 miles, and finally finishing the half marathon. Getting that medal, it is so rewarding.